Hey everybody, how you doing? Laura Sativa here, streaming to you from the Lower East Side. Where else? We've been having some technical issues. I know a lot of the other folks are having problems getting these live streams going. The live stream issue disappeared from my computer. I just switched to a phone setup, so bear with all of this. Was trying to figure out what I was going to do to pay tribute to David, and I figured I would tell a story from the good old days. I met David in the early 1990s when I moved to New York City. I moved into a big loft with a bunch of people, and they were friendly with the folks at High Times Magazine, including Mr. Steve Bloom, who you saw earlier doing the 420 tribute, and many good times with them. I was in a band called Mongrel Bitch at the time. Here's Mongrel Bitch. That's me and Lisa and Charlotte. And we were fortunate enough to play the High Times Cannabis Cup Awards in Amsterdam in 1995 and 1996. And the Cannabis Cup, if you've ever heard anything about it, back then basically you would go around to a bunch of different coffee shops and test the different strains that were being entered into the contest, and then at the end of the week there was a big celebrity panel that would pick the winners, and how anybody could pick anything after being stoned to the gills all week on this incredibly high octane weed was beyond me, but somehow it all happened. And in the evenings after like the official events were over, we would just wind up wandering around town and, you know, doing whatever in Amsterdam. So we're in a club one night, and this is 1995, and techno music is huge in Europe, huge. And particularly in Holland, there was this music, it was called Gabber, which is hardcore techno. It's very high BPM, almost industrial sounding kind of music. And it all kind of sounded the same to me, to be honest with you. I mean, this wasn't kind of our cup of tea. Mongrel Bitch was a punk band that sang songs about pot, of course, but hey. So I'm sitting in this club and I hear, I want to be a hippie and I want to get stoned, Mara. And I'm thinking, is somebody covering David Peel? It was the strangest thing, and we're all stoned and we're laughing about this, and I was just like, didn't think that much more about it for the rest of the night. And then I heard the song again a couple of times in Amsterdam, and we returned a few times to Europe. We were touring pretty regularly at that point, and it seemed like wherever we went, there was this song. And I thought it was just me, right? Because you hear something, and it definitely had this kind of infectious, earwiggy element to it. So, you know, over the course of a year or so, I feel like we heard this song so many times, and the few times that I brought it up to somebody stateside and mentioned it, they looked at me like I was crazy, like, who on earth would make a techno song, a cover of a David Peel song into a techno song? Like, I don't know. Well, I was thinking about, again, what I was going to do for this little event here, because obviously we can't be in a bar playing music together and celebrating together and doing this the way we would customarily do it. So I was thinking, what story should I tell about David? And I thought of this, so I was like, yeah, let me see if I can find anything online about that crazy song. So I looked it up, and boy, did I find stuff about it. It turns out that this song was a massive techno hit in 1995 and 1996 all over Europe. It was a #1 dance single in Germany, Austria, Belgium, and the Netherlands. It was originally released in early 1995 by a DJ duo called Techno Head. It was called I Wanna Be a Hippie. And it was re-released later that year as a 12-inch dance single, and it was huge. It went to the top of all the charts, dance-wise. Again, this is not my cup of tea at the time. I had no idea about techno. I still thought this was a cover. It was sampled, obviously. We know that now. But this was a really, really huge record all over Europe. I don't recall ever hearing it here. The only person I've ever mentioned this to that knew what I was talking about is Koshek, who organized this whole thing. Thanks, Koshek. And he had heard of it. He was very close to David, so I guess he had heard the story. So I dug around a little bit further, and I managed to find the Facebook page for one of the DJs of that duo. It was Lee Newman and Michael Wells were the two people behind Technohead who created this incredible record. So I emailed them. I just said, what the heck, let's see if they answer. And they did. And, well, first let me play this for you so you know what I'm talking about here. I've got this queued up. It's a very saturated video. I don't know how good the picture is actually going to show here. But, you know, you all will get the idea. So this is actually a shorter edited version. The second time they did it, I guess they did a video and radio release version. So here's the video of I Want to Be a Hippie. So, pretty trippy there, huh? What were those techno heads doing? Well, I can tell you, actually, because like I say, I reached out to them. I found Technohead on Facebook and sent him an email. And Michael Wells responded. He said, "Thanks for getting in touch. First of all, I'd like to start with saying I was saddened when I heard that David had passed. I never met him, but strangely, he became part of my life. It was a wet afternoon in London when, as usual, I was looking through video recordings in my studio, looking for sounds and samples to use in my music. My music always featured found sounds, and I combined different elements from voice clips to sound effects. Anyhow, I saw the clip of David, I think it was singing this song in a bar scene. As I was working on a piece of high-tempo techno music, I chopped up and sped up the vocals to fit the tempo. It sat so well that I continued to finish the track. The response from the DJs and the clubs was very positive when it was released on a 12-inch. So the record label decided to make a video and a new edit for radio and TV. This is when the contact with David happened, but only through a lawyer for his permission. He approved the usage, and I hope he liked the results. And then he goes on to say, from what I have gathered about David, he was a creative, humorous, and lively human being. And this is what I would like to remember from this experience. Thanks for contacting me. Kind regards, Michael. So I thought that was really gracious of him to get back to me about a 25-year-old song. Gosh, I know we all miss David a lot. There's no other like him, and there never will be. And I really want to thank Koshek for doing this, for, the tribute every year. This sure is different than last year, and I'll bet it's going to be real different next year too. But I appreciate it. I know a lot of people do. So, love to everybody. Take care. See you soon.